And as kids are now back in the classroom, they will be under the supervision of teachers and school counselors. So this is a time when adults might start to notice differences in a child's learning. And that includes attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. In today's Mom Squad, we are talking about ADHD, which affects roughly 6.1 million children in the U.S. We asked Dr. Michael Manos, a leading researcher with the Cleveland Clinic, about how to identify ADHD in kids.
One of the very common things is a child sitting in a classroom and looking out at a tree in the schoolyard and watching a squirrel in the tree. And the teacher says, "Children, pull out your math books and do page 45. The child is so busy watching the squirrel in the tree that he or she doesn't hear what the teacher has said, and so ends up not doing anything. And it takes the teacher several more directives to get the child to do what they're supposed to do. Hyperactivity is much easier to see. These are children who fidget, who move around a lot, who get out of seat. They're at dinner and they have to get up and walk. They may be more aggressive with play and more intrusive with play.
So Dr. Manos says there are nine key characteristics used to identify ADHD: impulsiveness, disorganization, and problems prioritizing, poor time management skills, problems focusing on a task, trouble multitasking, excessive activity or restlessness, poor planning, low frustration tolerance, frequent mood swings, hot temper problems, following through with completing tasks, that's difficult, trouble coping with stress. If 6 of those characteristics are present, a child would be diagnosed as ADHD. So if you want to listen to my entire interview with Dr. Manos, you can find it on our WKYC YouTube page and on our streaming channel. We're streaming Mom Squad now, but he was absolutely fascinating. Yeah. One of the points that he made too was that ADHD is prevalent in 11% of our population. He says anytime a characteristic, something is present in more than 1% of the population, it's meant to be. So he takes it back to people who are ADHD. If we were cavemen, they were the hunters, and then the other people were the gatherers. And as farming became more prevalent, and that's how we were getting our food, and that's how we were surviving, people with the brains that had the ability to concentrate on long term became more prevalent. So, I mean, everything he had to say is just absolutely fascinating, whether you have somebody in your family who's ADHD or not. Yeah. He says a lot of people discover a lot later in life that they should have been diagnosed as a child. He's had that. So a really good listen, especially if it's in your family.
Very interesting listening to him. I'd like to hear more. Do you feel like, and listening to what he had to say, do you feel like it's easy for, let's say, just say teachers to diagnose this? I'm
sure teachers are more trained to see those differences, like he was talking about. When a child has trouble transitioning from task to task, that's probably where they're going to say, you might want to see a counselor. So yeah, I think as kids are back in school, teachers are seeing kids for the first time, we might see more diagnoses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times you hear, oh, all these labels, but just what you said about looking back into history, that's so interesting. It's not like it wasn't happening. We just know more now.
Exactly. And we know how to help that child.
Yes,
So,
which is huge.
Yeah, he was great.